Every now and then we get a sequence of films that seem to be related, like everybody got the same idea at the same time. Deep Star Six, The Abyss, Leviathan, all of these undersea movies. But over a longer period of time, from Meteor way on back to Asteroid, the TV miniseries, but in 1998 in particular, we got Deep Impact and Bruce Willis in Armageddon. Armageddon is the worst good movie that you will ever see, that I've ever seen. I mean, it's horrible. When you talk about a plot that is full of outrageously huge plot holes, I mean, it's a movie about an asteroid hurtling towards Earth with all these sci-fi sort of elements, and yet the suspension of disbelief that they seem to be asking us for is just the most astronomical thing in all of the phenomenon in the movie. I want to review separately. I'll get into Deep Impact another time. But Deep Impact also, the idea, the premise, hurtling astral body, plummeting to Earth. It's going to destroy human civilization. It is an extinction level event. It might, as the Armageddon version, wipe out even the bacteria. Nothing will be alive on planet Earth when it's done. It is that basic premise of this disaster from space. We're going to send ships to intercept it. We're going to try to save the world. Deep Impact was a very thoughtful, well thought out, portrayed over a long period of time, a very realistic depiction of the crisis in most ways, including sort of the non-happy ending. But I'll deal with that another time. Armageddon was like somebody heard about Deep Impact and said, let's do a movie about an asteroid. Get Bruce Willis. Get Ben Affleck, get Liv Tyler, the beautiful Liv Tyler, Michael Clark Duncan, Steve Buscemi, Billy Bob Thornton. Let's throw everybody that we can think of in this. Now, Deep Impact also had a very ensemble cast. There's a lot of big stars there. But Armageddon was like the die-hard action version of Deep Impact. Let's just throw this together. The movie is, well, I'm watching the old reviews, and Gene Siskel at the movie said, of Armageddon, 1998, this could have been the movie that Malcolm McDowell was forced to watch in A Clockwork Orange. Be that as it may. The setup for Armageddon is pretty simple. We're going to take these high-tech, top-secret, so far tech space shuttles. We're going to take 2 crews to the asteroid, and we're going to drill down into the asteroid and plant nuclear bombs. All of this might be perfectly feasible, and it does. It's very similar to the other films in that genre. The problem is that in the Armageddon version, they conclude that what they really need is a drilling team from an offshore oil rig to teach the astronauts how to drill. And of course, they're not able to. You have a lifetime of experience drilling stuff. So ultimately, Bruce Willis decides to pressure them into letting him take his oil rig team, I can't even say it with a straight face, to take his oil rig team to the asteroid, and they will drill it because they are experts. Now, anybody that has any sort of profession knows that nobody can do your expertise like you. I mean, I get that. I grew up on a dairy farm. If they were taking cows into space to settle a colony and only astronauts were caring for them, I'd know the milk production would not be adequate. There may be genius astronauts, but they don't know anything about farming. Maybe you would find someone who grew up on a farm before they became an astronaut, but they're not going to hire farmers to go to the colony, at least not in that phase, like eventually when you're more settled. But an emergency mission to an asteroid to blow it up, you are not going to send the world's best oil rig drilling team. You don't even know with real certainty what's inside that asteroid. They've never drilled anything like it. Have they ever drilled in zero gravity? I mean, the whole concept, again, it requires a level of suspension of disbelief that is just, I don't know at where to rank it. It's so silly just on the surface of it. That being said, it's a heck of an entertaining movie. We get a whole ton of characters, which is also unnecessary. The drilling team is pretty big. I don't remember all their names. Michael Clark Duncan, the emotionally troubled one that cries all the time, but he's the usual, the big tough guy role. Steve Buscemi, who's funny and kind of crazy and borrows money from a loan shark because he thinks the world is ending, and he blows it all on a stripper named Molly Mounds. We get various characters, their various bad relationships, being absent fathers, the whole father-daughter dynamic of Bruce Willis, Harry Stamper raising his daughter alone on an oil rig surrounded by a bunch of grease monkeys. We get little bits and pieces of things that could be really interesting, but there's so many of them that we don't really learn enough about them to care about them. Like drastically cutting this down, cutting out most of these characters, even though they're funny and some of them are very endearing, it's too much. If you had just had Harry Stamper and Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck join the drilling team and be there with the astronauts and eliminate a lot of these peripheral characters, it might have worked better and been a little more plausible that you take a couple drilling experts, but you're sending I don't know. The whole thing is lots of noise, lots of yelling, lots of explosions. This is a Michael Bay movie, and this is one of his early ones, and it is loud, but it's engaging. There's no dead space. You can watch it, and you can't blink. You're gonna miss things. And really the actors do a great job of playing it serious and funny when it needs to be. They play it like it's a real story, despite the fact that the suspension of disbelief has to be so high. And Bruce Willis gives a great performance. There's emotional moments with his daughter. He volunteers to blow up the asteroid. He's the one that stays behind. And, admittedly, when everyone wants to salute his daughter at the end and, the astronaut wants to shake the hand of the bravest man he's ever met, that all comes through as it's emotional when you get there, because they played it so well. The acting is done well, the dialogue is done well, the music accompanying is done well. And for a moment, it's very engaging because you forget the stupid premise that got you there. And that's really the problem. So, as I say, this is the best bad movie I can think of. It is very entertaining, it's very fun to watch, and yet the level of dumb, it is on a scale of suspension of disbelief all taken together that these guys go into space to drill an asteroid. It's easier to believe that no one knows Clark Kent is Superman because he puts glasses on. Seriously, it's like that. But overall, it did give us a good soundtrack. It gave us some good music by Aerosmith. And it is entertaining to watch, and it is available on Amazon Prime. So go check it out. You probably have seen it. Let me know what you think. We'll see you next time.